All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get going because it's gonna be a long night, probably, at least for some. If you need to leave, just leave at any point. We won't yell at you. We have tech tonight, thank goodness. So for those of you who are here at last one where we couldn't show you anything, we couldn't record it, we couldn't put it online, we fixed that. So we'll have stuff to show. So there's going to be a repeat for some of you who were at the last meeting because we do have a lot of new people. So we are going to kind of repeat some, but we'll figure out what all we need to do. Okay, cool. So this is the big agenda we have. I'm going to try to blow through stuff. And if you aren't sure about a section, just let me know. If I try to go a little too fast, we'll slow it down and pull you in where we need to. So the first thing that I want to keep reiterating, we need people. We need more of you guys. If you're not willing to help us up at the Master Boosters, but maybe know some parents who are, they do not need to have kids here. They do not need to have kids in sports or choir and anything else. They just need able-bodied people who are willing to help, okay? We've got a lot of different positions open. So anything's up for grabs. If you know somebody who's really good on social media and loves posting stuff all the time, Margot, then, you know, we'll take those, right? So if you know people, please send them to us. We desperately need them. I'd hate to get to the end of the year and me off board and maybe Margot off board and you leave poor Mark over there all by himself. So we need people, okay? We are recording and this is online. So if people join in the meeting, they may talk. So be mindful of that. And this is very sensitive. So for you guys right around here, I wouldn't whisper anything because it will put it in the video. Our meeting schedule. So all of these are posted on our website. So if you don't know what our website is, it's gbhba.org. Okay. And if you go to events, you can actually just scroll to the bottom of that and hit subscribe to this calendar. It'll put all the events and any changes we make or any new events on there into your calendar. So I highly recommend doing that. Our next meeting will be Thursday, November 16th. Our goals for the year. So we do want to kind of upgrade our stipend process right now. I know there's a lot of confusion still on that and people thinking they're getting checks from our normal check request system and, you know, because of how we're doing that. So we do hope to finish that this year. The self-service club info updating is done and working. So we'll talk about that a little bit, how you guys can utilize that if you have new people coming into your organization. We'll be working on improving our issue tracking, request tracking. So when you guys come to me and say, hey, I need help with this, you know, right now it's just all in my head. We try to remember. So we're hoping to put that into like a ticket system you might have used at work or something where, you know, IT can get to your issues as you do. We're going to talk about our new snack bar, Grizzly Grill, and the rest are things that we hope to get to this year, but we're not going to really talk about tonight. So for those of you who are having new people come into your organization, coming up for winter, you've got a new treasurer or president, you can now update those on your own, okay? And that's done through our e-requests on the website. If you're not sure who's even listed there, you can go and request who's on file for you guys right now. And then you can update that. You can either update the treasurer and or the president of your club through the system. When you do that, it will email the current president on file. So we're not skipping out on the person who was running it. If they're no longer available to you, you need to let us know. But ideally, they should get these emails. They'll get them every day. So hopefully they'll get annoyed enough to actually do the process to approve update. But this is to prevent people from just randomly taking over a club without actually having approval from the person who was previously the president. When it updates the system, which is all automatic, it will update all of your pending check requests. And so I know there's been a lot of concern about, well, we have check requests and the person's not responding to them and things like that. This will solve those issues. Okay. Any questions on updating? Does anybody here need to update their people or are waiting for updates? Right. All right, so I'm going to kind of skip some of this. Does everybody know about Sports Engine / Grizzly Pride? Is there anybody in here that doesn't know about our Grizzly Pride website? Okay, good. So we'll kind of skip through this. Obviously, we use that for team registration, communication, and all that kind of stuff. Lots of benefits. Go back and watch the video if you want to kind of see more on it. Do we have a list of who we're still waiting for winter onboarding?
No, because I think I've talked to just about everybody.
Okay.
We're good on
So
winter.
hopefully if you're a winter sport, hopefully you have already started the process of working with Margot to get your registration going for the new sports season. Spring, if anybody in here is spring, get in early. The sooner you do it, like we're about ready to do it for track this next week. So get in early. There's no reason to wait until a couple months from now to get that done. And then if you have other parents in your organization that might be helping you with your website or things like that, they need to register as a volunteer. One, that's how they're going to get emails from us. Okay. And then two, that's how we can give them back-end permissions to stuff that you may want them to have permissions to. Same with your coaches. There's another one, I think, on one of these slides that talks about the coaches. It's the same thing, same website, but instead of volunteers, it's just coaches. So if you have new coaches on your team this year, or maybe even last, and they haven't registered, they should go do that. All right, our website, not a lot to talk about here. Just know it. It's gbhba.org. Okay, that's the short version. You can get there with gbhboosters.org as well. It will have everything you need. It's got our logos, school logos on it. So if you're getting print or banners or embroidery, all the stuff you're going to use up there. The forms, check requests, club info updates, stipends, all that stuff's up there right now. Any questions on our website? Has everybody been there at least once? No? Very good. Check it out. We have a lot of info there. We're going to keep posting more and more. So by the end of this year, we're going to have full knowledge base articles on here and little videos as well. So we'll have little videos that say how to do a check request. What is a check request? So that when you have new volunteers coming up, you can kind of send them here and there'll be a section that says, are you a treasurer? And they can just look at all the things related to a treasurer. What's expected of you? What things do you need to be responsible for? How do you deposit a check? All those kind of things. So, and if we get some more volunteers at the top, we could get that done sooner. And send us some people. All right, stipends. So we talked about this quite a bit last time. How many people weren't at last meeting, last month? Okay, so a handful of you. So stipends are very complicated. They've changed it up on us, the rules on how we can and can't do it. For those of you who may not even, I'm using the word stipend, you're like, what does that mean? That's us paying for coaches, okay? The school pays for some, and the booster programs pay for the rest. So you take a program like track, the school district pays for like 4, and we have like 12, so we pay for 8. And by going through this process, those coaches, even though it's just, they're paid by us, they're technically employees of the district, so we have to let them use their payroll system. So the checks actually go to the district, and then the district pays the employees on their payroll side. The things of note, you process it just like a check request once you have the stipend form filled out from the school. So there's a form that the school fills in. Well, you fill in, they sign, approval from a principal. Typically, you're going to go to Laura Neal, and she'll take care of getting it signed for you. And then once you have that, you're going to create a check request and use that stipend, form as the receipt. And we'll know to process it. The confusion we're having is because it's going through our check request system, the coach is getting an email from us, hey, your check's done, and you're going to get it in like 2 days. They're not getting their check in 2 days. Okay. It goes to the district. District pays out once a month on the 10th. 10th of the month. If you didn't file that request to us by the 20th, then they're at least a month and a half out. Because we have to have them to the district before the 25th. And so if you missed that, so like we had a whole bunch come in on the 26th of last month. Too late for this month. So I mean, nobody's getting paid on October 10th. They're going to get paid on November 10th. But the coaches all got emails because we did this saying, oh, you're getting paid in 2 days. And the boosters, you guys didn't tell them, by the way, you're going to get an email. Ignore that. You're going to get paid on your normal pay schedule like you would. So that's why when we talked in the beginning that we want to have a new process for these, that's why we want to simplify this. Any questions on the stipends? I did have questions from one of the teams about they thought they could pay coaches directly for like a summer program. Okay. You cannot. They still, if your coaches did stuff in the summer or preseason, then they can get a stipend for that as long as the school approves, but they still go through the district. If your program runs a summer clinic or a club team during the summer, we're not paying them. Okay? That's not a Granite Bay school thing. That's a separate thing. So keep that in mind that you can't use your funds to try to give extra money to coach. Yeah.
About the stipends themselves. Who sets the stipend number? That's something the district does, or?
Yeah. So the district sets a maximum. Okay, so they're on our website, gbhboosters.org. We have a stipend calculator, which will have the salary schedule PDF that changes every year. And then typically, if you're head coach and in conjunction maybe with Tim Healy, but really your head coach that negotiates it. Very few teams pay their stipend paid coaches full salary. Okay, so if the maximum, let's say, is $3,800 that they can earn, they might actually have negotiated $1,500. Okay. So that's a process that we would love to be involved with. And if you're hiring new people, those are things to take into consideration because ultimately we're the ones paying for them. So we have to make sure we fundraised enough money to cover that.
Right. But it's set according to some formula, years of experience, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's literally what you can negotiate. If you got somebody who's willing to work for you for $500, awesome. Take it. There is a maximum.
But there is a maximum. And that is declared by.
Yeah, and you cannot exceed it.
Declare that for
every sport and head versus assistant. It's all defined in there. Yeah. On the GBH Boosters website in the stipend type. Yeah, I mean, it's all varied and I don't really care. It's kind of what you guys want to do. Now, I think, like track, I can speak with this, Mark and I are in the track booster as well. We pay it at the end. One, that's so if somebody gets sick or decides they don't want to do it anymore, we're not having already paid them for it. Obviously, if we don't change the pay based off of performance or like whatever it was negotiated, what paid them. We tend to do it at the end. Not really.
Not really.
No, in fact, more often than not, he doesn't even know what it is.
You're saying you negotiate.
Yeah, normally it's your head coach. So I would just have, if you have a good relationship with your head coach, then work with them and say, hey, we'd love to be involved when we hire this new guy. And, you know, we think we should be paying about here. This is what we're hearing. Others should be paid, you know.
What if we did this?
Obviously, Tim gets involved at that point. Yeah, if we're having to find coaches, we're not in the HR business,
Yeah.
right? As best as we can. So we're not involved in, you know, most of the hiring. In fact, more often than not, they're never going to ask us. But what we're trying to avoid is, you know, where all of a sudden you had a head coach who talked to nobody and is promising salaries that is either unattainable because it's not even on the schedule as what could be done, or something you can't afford. And now you're in a position, you're like, we've already done our fundraising and now you're trying to tell me to pay more, right? We don't want that.
I just didn't know how it works.
It's a very interesting process for sure. And I did assume Tim was involved heavily and maybe even did the negotiation. And I talked to him about it. We had some incidences a month ago and I talked about it. He had no idea. He doesn't know.
I just didn't know how that sort of.
Yeah. And we can hire more. So if you're a team that can fundraise, like we've talked about with track, like, hey, coach, maybe we get a specialist to come in for this role or something like that. If you have the funds and can do it and your coach is on board, right? We're never going to do stuff our coach doesn't necessarily want to do. Then you can do it. There are some limitations, but I don't think we've ever hit them on the number of coaches you can have.
Yeah, it's just a real basic thing. I didn't. Attempt to negotiate.
So far,
Some of it is covered by the district, right? Like a head coach and their stipend is covered by the district. Assistant coach, most sports, right? You're gonna have at least one assistant by the district. That's not something you're involved in. It's when you get those extra coaches that are not covered by a district, that's where it comes.
yeah, and again, most teams, we do have some that pay max. It's far and few between. So when we run 35, I've got 35 different clubs underneath us, right? And I'd say maybe 4 or 5 pay any coaches, you know, full salary. But almost all are some subset of, you know, again, maybe that 2,000 range, 2,500 range, 3,000 range, but very few are paying the maximum for the sport. Which seems crazy to all of us, right? Because if you look at the money, you're like, really? I would never do that. So praise to the coaches who are willing to do it. We're grateful, but you know, obviously these are passion projects for them. So we'll take it.
Who determines how many coaches per sport?
The district decides what they are going to cover.
It's on the list website.
No, because the list doesn't necessarily, it's just what the schedule, the salaries
They have
would be.
numbers next to each place, so I'll have two.
Oh, that they cover. Okay. So then it is on there. Yes.
Again, can you remind?
Yeah, so the stipend calculator that we have will give you an approximation. So if you want to pay the coach net $1,500, okay, you put that into the calculator and it will add in a percentage to that. Right now, I think we're sitting roughly at 11%-ish. It used to be that we could pick the type of, you know, is it a teacher or a non, you know, classified position, and it would calculate different rates, right? Because there's a big difference between as masters, teacher and what they have to take out versus somebody not. They eliminated that. So they took away our ability to even know the rates for the different stuff. So you can do that. It'll tell you approximately what to pay them. It'll be, they're either going to get more or less than what you did. More often than not, they're probably going to get more than the 1,500 you wanted them to pay, but it covers the majority of your services. You can't pay more than the maximum. So if the maximum was $3,500, you can't go put in the calculator $3,500 and then take out the tax because that $3,500 was gross. Okay, you can't pay them more than the schedule. So if you want to pay them the max, just go find that max in the schedule sheet, and that's the number you put in the checker. Any other questions on it? Great question. All right. Game day tickets. So we have been running all of our sports with hometown ticketing. And is catching on and getting the handle of how we do this. We invested a lot of money in this this year. So encourage your, aside from ball fields, don't use this at all, obviously. Encourage your parents and stuff to buy tickets in advance. It'll make getting into the game much easier. Have a better idea of who's coming. If you're using the stadium, like lacrosse and things like that, soccer, track, you even have custom special dream seats and stuff that can be upsold and afford those. And then you guys can get some money from it. So get them in advance. If you, again, use the stadium, we can certainly create season tickets. Right? So if you have 5 home games and you want to sell to your parents in advance season tickets, the way that it works is essentially we'll charge the parent whatever we deem is reasonable, right? And then you have to pay $10 a ticket for them, and the rest of the money. So it can be a great fundraiser for them.
The schedules, how do they get loaded in here? So you have a game schedule.
Yeah, we handle that on the back end. We get them all from Tim, and then we send them off to hometown ticketing. They do all the work for us.
So Tim's passing that.
Yeah, we're loading up winter right now. We do sell tickets at the gate as well. You'll see Tim or a teacher out there with iPads and stuff, and we take cards and cash at all of our gates. Okay. Obviously, we prefer the card because it makes it much simpler. If you run a ticketed event, we definitely have events that you ticket. So for us, for example, for our end of year banquet, okay, we charge $20 a head for a buffet banquet. Okay, we don't let we cover the cost for the students, the athletes, but they parent pay for it. We use this system for them. So then they're pre-buying all their stuff. We know in advance what to tell catering how many people ordered. And at the door, on the night of, we're just using our phones, scanning the people in. We get 300 people in the door, and we know that everybody's paid. And it has worked really well. We've done that for a couple. So any ticketed event you want to run, we can run it through. As if you do clinics, that's a great system for this. Anything you're putting on, let's talk about how we can do it. I'm talking about this mainly because the choir boosters couldn't be here tonight. They have choir performance. If you use the theater for anything, we do have full reserved seating in the theater as well. So we've built out the seating chart for it, which means like tonight, they have a choir performance and all they're doing is charging $10 at the door or in advance. Okay? And then it's general seating. So had they used this system, then we could have used those color codes and said, hey, you want to be in the most prime seats and you want to reserve your seat, it's $20. So they could have doubled or tripled their revenue tonight. And as a parent, I would have had guaranteed seats where I want them instead of going, man, I got to show up an hour before the choir performance. So I would happily have paid the extra And our parents tend to be those parents that would much rather pay a little more and know that they're gonna show up at the end. We kind of talked about check requests a little bit. Some key notes for you, 1 transaction per request. So we are still getting some, and we have a lot of news people, so it's understandable, but we're still getting some where a whole trip is being lumped into one, and there's like 30 receipts, and there's a whole bunch of different stuff in there. We need that broken up. Like if it was hotel and there's 10 receipts for the hotel, I'm okay with 1 for the hotel. But then do your food and stuff separately so that we have, different transactions and it's not as much work for all of us to go. Yes. It's actually kind of faster and more accurate for you to just quickly do them one by one than it is to try to do all the math and add them up. And what we find is more often than not, you're going to screw up. So then we have to kick it back. I'm not going to edit it. The time it gets to us, the only option I have is to thank you. Yes. Every day.
Use every day. The volleyball, I think that
Okay, so it's waiting for somebody to approve who isn't a part of your group anymore. That totally could be it. So just go check, and you can do it on your phone. So just go to the website, pull up club information, and it'll ask you for your email address and the club. And it's going to email you who's on file right now.
so that's actually what we did. That's what we've been talking about with girl volleyball. That's girl volleyball. Andre and Kaylee.
Oh, yeah. And I fixed
So you
those
fixed
today.
that
So,
yeah.
so one of the things that had happened was that the system would send one email out to the president, and then it would just wait for them to do it. I'm going to annoy them. So I built today a system that will check every day to see if there's any pending updates. And if there is, it's going to re-email. So every day they're going to get an email saying, please update, please update. So for anybody who says they didn't get it, they will eventually get bombarded enough. They will. Okay. And we do know the system is working. We've had, since we put this in, there's already been like 20 requested and fully completed. Yeah, so there's only 2 outstanding in yours as well. Any other questions on the check requests? Okay. By the way, one other point to make here is we do send out daily digests. So if you got busy and you just didn't get to all the check requests, you don't have to hunt through all the emails. The next morning at 9 o'clock, you're going to get an email with every check request in it that's waiting. And all you have to do is click the update to each of them in that email, and then go delete any other emails you find, because you don't want to do it twice. Okay? We have had people probably go through their emails, find the other one, and then get the digest and go, and then go update it again. And that, it doesn't break it, but it kind of duplicates effort. And potentially puts you back to waiting for your president to approve. Okay, so ideally, just if you're too busy, wait for the digest in the morning and then do them all at once. Deposits. So our bank is Tri-County's banks, right down the street here, right behind the T-Mobile store at every club has their own deposit stamp. If you don't have one and your previous people didn't give it to you, you can let us know. I'll probably charge you to give you a new one because I don't have any. I'm going to have to order some, but we'll get that for you. Anybody can deposit. So as long as they've been stamped, it has our account number on it, anybody can go. So it doesn't have to be your treasurer, it doesn't have to be your president. It's like whoever's willing to go and deposit that can go put it in the bank. But that person needs to follow our deposit process. Okay? So the process is that essentially we have a deposit form on our website. That deposit form needs every single check line item. If you're depositing 4 checks, there should be 4 lines on that deposit. So typically what I would do is start the process on my phone, type in the information for the 4, 5, 10, 15 checks I'm depositing. Leave the form, go to the bank, deposit it, get the little slip, and then take the picture of the slip in the form, sign it, and hit submit. Kind of a 2-part process. Fill out the form, go deposit the stuff, attach the deposit slip, and then you're good to go. So we do that because we need to track every single line item check. We need to know what the donor was, what his program revenue, what the donations, all that stuff in there. And they can be mixed and matched. You don't have to be like, oh, this was from this night, this was from this night. Whatever checks you have, put them all in one. Classify, you're good to go. We do send out monthly an unclaimed check request, unclaimed deposits report. So like you just got one a couple days ago of your treasurer or president. And in that report are deposits that we don't know where they came from. You probably should be looking at that to go, oh, yes, I forgot to go fill out the form and I need to do that. Like you can only fill out the form with your paper. You lose your deposit paper, you're going to lose that money. So that's why the check deposit form, doing it in the order I told you, is pretty important because then you won't ever miss out on your money. We handle all the back end stuff. If you did something with Grizzly Pride, Rally Up fundraising, you don't need to do anything. Handle all of that. We have access to every account. We know what deposits were. But we never need you to do anything with those. So it's just the deposits made at the bank, or if you know a parent submitted a deposit through one of their Bright funds or something, their company matching, then notify us because those come in typically ACH and we have no idea. More often than not, they're do have reports, but if they didn't classify properly, all we have is the name and doesn't tell us necessarily. Okay. Fundraisers. So Margot is our chief fundraiser person. We use a company called Rally Up. You can't use any other platform. No other platform. You can't use Vertical Raise. You can't use anything else. This is the only platform you can use. So if you're trying to do a fundraiser and you doesn't start with Rally Up, the answer is no, do not do it. The reason we do that is because this system is free. It costs you nothing to use. It can do every kind of fundraiser you want. You want a jogathon, it can do it. You want a silent auction, you can do it. You want crowdfunding where each of your students have a bar that says I'm trying to earn $100, you can do it. Anything you can dream up, we can do through this system. And it uses our card processor, which is only 2.2%. They have special nonprofit. So, got to use our stuff. We have a lot of demo sites. I've taken it out of the slide, but if you want to see stuff, how can we do this? What are fundraiser ideas? So you can set stuff up for you. And we help do a lot of the work. So we'll get the initial part of the campaign going and then give you access to it. And then you can go in and fill in pretty pictures, details. Okay. Any questions on that? Now, this doesn't mean you can't do a Jamba Juice or something else. We really don't like them. They don't work very well. We do love the food nights at places, but we are working with Chick-fil-A. Please do not talk to Chick-fil-A. You have to go through us for Chick-fil-A. This is per their request. They don't want to be talking about it. And we're going to do once a quarter spirit nights at Chick-fil-A. And then it might be 5 different teams all doing that same night, and then you guys will all split. And Chick-fil-A can handle that back end checking and stuff, but they don't want to run more than, they didn't even want to do one a quarter. So I got them to agree to do it. So we're going to be working on that for the upcoming winter season so that we can get one going. But, you know, aside from that, you know, most other fundraisers just aren't as effective. Volunteer management, so you don't need a Google form. Okay, we still see those used. You do not need Sign Up Genius. We pay on your behalf at no charge to you for a premium account with signup.com. So feel free to use it. This is the code to activate, the process to do it. And you can manage all of your volunteer management for the season. You can put every game in there and all the slots you need for parents. If you're going to run a snack bar, great way to get signups for that. And there's mobile apps. It'll text them, find them. It'll do all the things you would ever want a volunteer manager. I use it. And it's very simple to use. We have, you know, anybody here wants to chime up that they use it, but it's certainly easier than a Google. Trying to figure out a cheat on that. Scoreboard replacements. Yes, we are replacing all the scoreboards on campus. And now the quad. Well, I got added in. It's a massive project. You can see that we need over $1 million. We are going to be starting our fundraising hopefully in the next month or so. We're been planning it out, trying to figure out, you know, whether the sponsorship levels and stuff. Obviously, we're trying to go business first. And I think math is like we need 200 businesses to donate $5,000 each. Yep. So it's not unattainable. We just have to find it because, you know, we'll get some businesses that will donate way more and some that will donate less, but you know, it shouldn't be overly difficult for us to raise. The plan is once we have our fundraising plan in order, we'll probably kick the process off. So we have been working with our bank. They are willing to finance the operation. They're willing to potentially donate a pretty massive chunk. We're trying to get them to do about $250,000 of it. So once we finalize some of that, then we can start the process. Get going. But I don't want to sign us up for debt obligation without having a plan of how. And then the plan would be there's no per team. I'm not going to come to you and be like, okay, your guys' portion's X amount of dollars. It's just everybody fund. Everything we can to get it done. We've got parents that you guys probably know who have endowments and can just write a check. Just matter of talking to people you know, saying, hey, this is what we're trying to do, and figuring out how they can be involved and get it done. Okay? So hopefully, if all goes well, we'll have these up for the next school year. I know that some are hoping they could have it for their season this year. That's highly unlikely, but we're gonna try. See what we can do. But there's a lot of red tape to get through. We've already gotten approval from the district. They're on board. We don't have to do any special approval from them to you know, do this. They just need to go through all of the state's legal protection stuff. Once they get approved. Any questions about the scoreboards?
How much do you need to raise for it actually get it done?
I mean, the bank would lend me the full $1 million if I wanted it. You know, we've got other assets and stuff as well for that. I would love to have at least the first 250 already covered. Because we have to pay, essentially what happens is we have to pay half down to get the project going. And then the other half when it completes. So we've got some flexibility time-wise. It's going to take them a long time to get through doing that. That's why we're willing to potentially start the project early, right, and get it going. But that means I got to write a check for $500,000. Any questions? If you want to see more, I have a couple pictures here, but we have actual full videos and everything, samples of what this is gonna look like with our teams, baseball field, and all that stuff. So the idea is, once we put these campaigns together, we'll be able to create custom pages for each of your teams to show, like, how is this gonna benefit you guys, so it'll be easier to get parent involvement and other team involvement.
Yeah, question, but
Please.
I'll figure it out.
If you haven't been in the stadium, we have new seats in the big portion of the middle. They're quite comfy. And it allowed us to even get even more season ticket holders than we were able to get before, just because of space planning and everything else. And we do sell these, currently, obviously football's going, so we are selling these VIP seats through the tickets online, so a parent can go and pick their seats. They see what seats are available, right? Because obviously we've sold a lot of them through season tickets. It shows them, here's all the seats available, and we are absolutely selling 20, 30 of these a game. Because again, some parents just want to know that they can show up as the game's going to be starting and walk right to their seat, lines, all that kind of stuff. These are the logos. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. They're not necessarily new anymore. They were developed last year. All of the logos and the files, everything are on our website, including low color versions for embroidery and stuff. So everything you need's up there if you need them. You don't have to ask for them. No, I don't know what the font is, and I don't know if we'll ever learn. I've had that question a few times. So we didn't develop these. They were done by Jostens. And getting the file, my graphic designers that work for me had to recreate them. They wouldn't give us the files. It just dragged on and on and on. We just created all the files to get the vector version stuff. But if you need them, they're there. Feel free to use them. Don't modify them without asking. The school wants to approve any kind of modifications. Some have, robotics here. They have a wonderful version of Go. I'm sure that they were get that approved. So it can be done, but the school wants approval before they get modified. I'm not going to go over all these. We talked about it before. I have access to print capabilities. If you know in advance, our printers that we utilize are significantly cheaper than anything you're going to get from Ethan Wade or any of the other guys here. All for supporting local businesses, but unfortunately, they're costing you a fortune. So if you can easily afford it, great. And especially if you waited to the last minute, I won't be the guy for you. I need at least a week, okay? And I need ready art. So if you have no idea what you're developing, then go to Ethan Wade and they'll do it for you. But if you know what you're doing, we can do them significantly cheaper. So even some of the banners that we've been doing are $8, $9. And that same thing through Ethan Wade's like $60. The one thing I will suggest, if you are using Ultimate Exposures for your team photos, which I think everybody is at this point, they do offer a senior banner design for like $40, and that includes the banner. It's really nice. So I would highly recommend working with them. As soon as your sport starts and you're taking your picture, order those. You don't want them to get behind, like we did with track, and I had to literally the nightmare trying to get them in time for one. So I could recommend that for your senior photos. A company called Printograph. So I own a creative company, and so we do a lot of stuff. Insurance, you never need any, okay? Don't let your coach buy any insurance for something. We've had that before. We're like, oh, well, I have to have insurance to upload to rent the gym or something. No, we have that. And we cover any events that you guys do. Doesn't matter if students involved, doesn't matter if you're doing alcohol at the event. Like golf has got a poker night coming up. Okay, well, that's fully insured through us and we don't have to do anything. You know, tell me about it. I don't need you to fill out a form. Tell me you're having some event or anything. Just do your best to not need to use the insurance. Ideally, but you don't ever need any, and we are very well covered. Everything you can imagine and everything you can't imagine. We wouldn't want to ever even have to discuss. Any questions on that? Okay.
Quick question, going back with the scoreboard. Would you sell as a way of fundraising for businesses to advertise on that now?
That's the plan, yeah. So we're gonna have, every team will be able to, once we have them, start selling advertising and ads on they're all video scoreboard, by the way, that wasn't an obvious picture. Yeah, so you'll be able to do static pictures and we can even do little stingers and stuff with 3 to 5 second actual ads. We're going to, as boosters, be looking at bigger corporate sponsorships and have levels where maybe if they donate 50 grand, we'll advertise them at every sport. Obviously, you guys can't do yourselves. You can sell your own sport, but we're going to try to sell some bigger deals. All right. So Grizzly Grill. So if you weren't here last time, I have no idea what we're talking about. We rebranded all of our snack bars. So this year, we're running snack bars, concession stands, quick service restaurant, whatever you want to call it. We're running them differently. So it used to be that every team, if you had people, you might run a snack bar. Maybe you went to Sand Club and you bought some candy and hot dogs and you sold them. This year, you have to do nothing other than run the snack bar. We are buying everything centrally. We developed the menu for you, so you don't need to know what your menu is. You don't need to think about pricing. We've got kiosks that will be able to be used as well to help so that when you don't have the right amount of manpower, please go play with that. You can see our menu, what we're planning to be selling. Hopefully you'll be impressed by it and a little scared. That's totally reasonable. Because we're moving away from just selling some candy and chips and stuff into full service. So we'll have chicken strips and onion rings and french fries, all the things you would expect to have at a ballpark or other major facility. We've got new point of sale systems coming in and being installed. We've already, invested probably $80,000 in upgrades around the campus. We're having digital signage put in. So we'll have menus in every one of the bars that will show all the menu. Stadium, we actually have a sign that shows what orders are ready to be picked up. Text to people saying your order's ready, come get it. Mobile order from the stands or before they even arrive on campus, make sure the food's ready. So we got a lot of things going with this. This is a new logo that we're going to be using for that. So you'll start seeing more of that. We put in fountain service everywhere. So if you haven't been to a game yet, you probably haven't seen it, but we have Pepsi fountain service at the 3 main stands. Baseball, we're working on doing a bunch of upgrades, but we are limited currently with some of the things that we can do in there that we're working on. It's exciting. It's time consuming, but it's exciting. Some notes for you. If you don't have enough volunteers to run the snack bar, we'll help you. If you don't want to run one at all, we probably will find somebody to do it and they'll earn the money, which is fun. So if you're like, look, I don't have the volunteers, I don't have the time. And let's say you are a club in here that looks and says, robotics, you want to run a snack bar and earn the money, and we have teams that don't want to run one, we'll let you know all the dates that they're going to have events, and then you guys can come staff So we're working on all that. We understand that you may not have, that you're used to running 2 people in a snack bar. Now we're asking for 6, 8 if you're in the stadium. We'll help you figure it out. But we've eliminated a lot of things that would have been time consuming. No more shopping. Sitting there pattern out to spend our own money to figure out what to do, menu planning, or making signs for, $2 candies. Questions? How many people have run a snack bar or look forward to running a snack bar?
Nicole's like,
Yeah, nobody. Nobody's running anything.
They've done one, they won't say the other.
Yeah.
Question, yeah. Yeah, and the way that it'll work now, so we have,
I was gonna reach out to you guys, that football, so to help you guys get going. I was talking to Dallas.
yeah, I saw that we don't have one running yet. And to be honest, your game Tuesday, you couldn't run one anyways, because I've taken over the snack bar right now. It's worth it even, so that's the beauty of our system. The beauty of our system is you sell $10, that's $10 you didn't have before. You don't have to buy anything. So it's all already stocked and ready to go. Good. That's the problem that we're gonna hopefully solve and work through other teams and try to help and do stuff for everybody. But the way that it'll work is we know our food costs. So everything is tracked. Every menu item in there has a full ingredient list. And as soon as you sell one, it knows how much to deplete from the inventory and what the cost was to build that item. Okay? Almost every item we have is a $4.50 profit to you or better. That's after the food costs have been taken out. So it's extremely profitable if you can manage it. It is overwhelming if you have a big sport like football. But we do have to help around everybody and do it, but it's profitable. You're talking 10 grand a week potentially. Some teams, that's more than they fundraise in a year. So we want this to be useful to you. We want to help you do it. We're trying to take away as much of the work as we can. And we're going to find ways for teams. We have teams that can't do the artist sport. We got robotics. We have cheer. Right? Cheers at every football game. They have no way to fundraise. Right? Football. So now cheer can go run aquatics. Aquatics has already said they may not want to run any snack bar. So that means every water polo game and swim game we can run. That's a lot of revenue. Next question?
Yeah, well, I've seen obviously the new snack bar by the football stadium.
Yeah.
Is that where everything will be served from, or is there?
No. Every stand. So we have 4 restaurants on campus, if you will. We have 4 grills. So we've got the Grizzly Grill Stadium, which is the new building. We have Grizzly Grill Aquatic Center, which is the old snack bar, which is right over by the pool. And then we have Grizzly Grill Gym, which is inside of the gymnasium. And then we have Grizzly Grill Ball Fields, which is softball and baseball. And yes, we are upgrading all of them. Not all of them are going to be equal. We're trying. I had the electricians take a look at the football field one, and unfortunately, whoever originally planned it, baseball, what did I say, football? Whoever originally pulled in the power just didn't do enough. And so upgrading it might be, overly costly. So we're going to try to figure out what we can do. Any other questions? If you have any restaurant experience or any kind of thing where you want to help overall, we do at the master level, we're going to manage inventory, oversight of the stuff, training of people, and ordering product. We have 3 places to order from, so it's a very simple process. Almost everything we get from Cisco Foods or Webstront Store, which is an online version. And then our candy, probably coming from Sam's Club. But again, we're buying everything in bulk instead of like a team might do where they go buy 4 boxes of something, we're gonna buy 30. That way we're not buying it every. So we're excited for it and we're helping you guys. We've invested a lot of money in it. So hopefully you guys are able to really use it and take advantage of
It's on the agenda.
that. We got 3 more things and then we're done. And most of them I'm going to kind of go through pretty quickly. So credit cards, you can't do any of your own system. Okay? Don't do Venmo, don't do Zelle, don't do a PayPal account. Like you guys don't have any authority to make your own payment processing. Most don't anymore. We've had issues in the past. I don't think we really have any of that now, but just new people come in like to mention it. We utilize Square for most of our in-person stuff. We do recommend every team have their own Square reader. They're like $35 from Amazon. We have a couple units in our ticket booth at the stadium that you can check out and use. And if you happen to have an iPhone, every iPhone has a Square reader built in. So you can take any kind of tap payment on your iPhone. Obviously you can't swipe it or anything, that you need a reader for that. But
Input it.
The Square readers, you don't depend on another iPhone. It's fully.
So the Square reader is $35, depends on a phone. Android, iPhone, doesn't really matter. I have units here that are fully self-contained and require nothing. And they have a printer built in, they've got their own touch screen and everything in it. So you can certainly check those out from the ticket booth. And we have 3 of those at any given time. No charge for them. If you don't have a Square account, your treasurer should have one. If your treasurer doesn't have one because you're new and you haven't been set up yet, you just need to get with us at a meeting like this and we'll sit down and go create the account or email us for that. Okay. We used to use this for the point of sale. I think it still probably says in here, yeah, point of sale to Stack Bars. We don't use that anymore. We've moved to an actual restaurant system, Stack Pass. So ignore that. But
So that's for everything except.
okay. Donations versus fees. So this is the thing that we go over every meeting. Almost verbatim for what it is here. My attorneys make me. So school boosters.
Mark.
Don't make the rules. No, you just enforce them. It's good. So school boosters cannot charge fees for our sports and clubs. And you should be able to open it. I don't think it is alarmed, but it could be. We've opened it before, but it does look like there's, I don't know. Okay. It's a trick door.
Scatter. Delivered to your last night for you.
Oh, fun. Okay. So we can't charge for any of our clubs or sports, right? We can ask for voluntary donations. So I think most of us understand that's what we do through Grizzly Pride, right? When they register, we ask for a season contribution. It is a donation. There's a button right below it that says no donation. We do have people who take advantage of that, say no donation, they don't want to donate to us. The reason we go through the Grizzly Pride is so that we control the language. Okay? This is really important on your parent nights because we're not there to supervise that. You guys need to make sure your coaches don't say stupid stuff. It's not the coaches going to get in trouble. It's going to be us. Okay? And the school. Like the school will get sued and then we're going to be named as part of that. None of us want that. So please, hopefully work, I like to help make the parent night presentation for the coach. Right? One, we're going to make them prettier typically than any coaches, because most of the time they're just, a Google presentation with white text, black background or something. But then we get to control the language of it.
And we have had coaches who are like, oh, you gotta donate this, or you have to do this, and we can't say those things. They should know better, but it's on us to make sure we really do a good job with it. We can't have donations used for a particular student, right? So they can't be like, oh, here's a $500 check, but you got to make sure that my student gets, all this new stuff. Right? Can't do that. You can't force purchases of any equipment or spirit packs. Doesn't matter if it costs you $100 a uniform, you can't make them buy it. Your coach can't then say, oh, well, we have to buy a spirit pack too, and everybody's got to wear the same headbands. Okay, then buy it for them. Can't make them do it. Now, you can ask them to donate towards it, and if they do, great. But if they don't, and you want them to have it, then you're going to just have to give it to them. So this is where you making sure you budgeted properly for the year and accounted for all the people who aren't going to do it, really important. We can't force fees with a waiver. We can't say, well, you got to pay, but if you need help, come see us and we'll help. Can't do that. Maybe 10 years ago we could do that. We used to do that all the time. Right? Oh, if you need a scholarship, come see us. There's no such thing, and I don't ever want to hear those words for scholarshiping somebody on our teams. We can require every student to fundraise. Has to be the team. It can't be only the people who didn't give you money. It can't just be kids you don't like. It has to be everybody. If they're fundraising, for every person. The only exception that we tend to do is if they paid you to opt out of the fundraising. Kind of the little jib we got to get them out of that rule. But typically it means they probably gave you a lot of money to do so. In which case they kind of already fundraised, they just did it themselves. Okay. Any questions on this? Every meeting you come to, you'll hear me say the same thing because it really instills in it, and it's recorded that we told you, we told you, so that we don't get ourselves in trouble. Monthly one-on-ones, we want to help you. Okay, we have a lot of new people in here who have a lot of new boosters too, where you've cycled everybody out. You're all new teams. You don't have anybody from the previous regime. Use us. Like there's a lot of us who have done individual teams already. You've got my experience, you got Mark's, you got Margot's. We're here to help you. If you schedule time, we'll come to your booster meetings. We'll help you, figure out how to budget for your year if you need help. You got a coach that's rubbing you raw, we'll sit with you guys and help figure it out. Right, all that kind of stuff. That's what we're here for. That's it. So we can take questions, group questions. If you have questions that can be for the group, please ask them now, because then we can get them on recording and other people may get advantage of it. If you have something very specific to your sport, just wait until we're done and come see me afterward. Yeah.
We're unable to attend. Where was it that we logged on?
So the Boosters website, we post all of the videos there, and we have a YouTube channel. So if you just subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll get all the new posts for it. But all that's linked on our website. So there's a section called videos or past meetings or something under the events.
So that passed me.
Yeah.
So I thought I was under the impression people are listening in live.
There may be people live right now, but nobody's talked
Just
to them.
asking how to get to that.
Oh, it's
You can't
always
come to the next
posted on the event itself. Normally, it may not have actually posted the link. Which is why nobody's been talking.
Right.
Normally, I post the event link the day of onto the event online. And then you can get that.
Both boosters and YouTube both have.
The post, yeah. Because we just integrate the YouTube playlist into our website. And you can go back and see even previous years. We go back now probably 10, 15 videos, and there's a lot of good info. And what else? All right, well, yeah, please.
I've got something.
Yeah.
Sorry. This isn't about even our sport. This is going back to, I think, the first slide that you put up about people volunteering.
Yeah.
A thought that I had watching this whole thing, if I recall from the last meeting, you're moving to South Carolina, is that correct?
That's correct.
And the approximately
May or June.
So, I mean, I don't know what everybody else is sitting here thinking in this meeting, but I'll say it. I think you've done a really good job with this, and I thank you for doing that. Seems like you're putting a lot of time into this. At the same time, honestly, I feel like you've got so much knowledge about this master organization in your head. And I think you're a software engineer too. I think it sounds like you've written some custom code for this. There needs to be a process for handing this stuff off. Even right now, if you got hit by a bus, everybody here would be in a lot of trouble. Is that correct?
To a small extent, yes. I mean, we do have a pretty good team. Margo handles a lot of things that I used to have to do that only I knew and are pretty crucial for you guys launching your seasons. So yes, to some extent, there's some of that. Mark is taking over as president. I'm gonna be.
It said
That was still up there,
president.
We've already, traded blood and everything, so he's.
That's all the same thing. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you for doing that, but still.
So that doesn't solve the bus issue, but the plan is I'm still staying on even moving because there's too much tech stuff going on in the background for you guys to handle at this point. So barring me dying, I'll still be around to handle all the back end tech stuff and work with your team to ensure that all that keeps going.
But it is a very fair point that, I mean, you look up there and there are, I think, 8 positions that we have available right now.
Yeah.
And it's completely impossible for this kind of progress to continue.
I know. I have just kind of a general comment about it. My understanding, I think the last meeting said